So I'm writing this book and I wanted to use this podcast to interview like the people who really created the early influencer economy and like understand what the fuck we were doing and also what happened to us. Because there are so many people that, like me, like just sort of were like, I guess I have to pivot dramatically.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk to you about that. Rachel Sobel, welcome to Like Me.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Wine and Cheez-Its. You are an icon and a legend.
Oh my God. Can you come over and just say that to me every day when I wake up?
Yes, you make me happy every day when skies are gray. I was looking through some of the memes you posted. What is it, tampons and...
Oh, that was one of my favorite, and I'm scared to post it now because everyone's so, like, it's fragile. But it was, if you like a toddler staring you straight in the vagina while you insert a tampon, then motherhood is right up your alley.
Check. Absolutely. Has happened many a time. So just to get into, so your background was in PR, correct?
Yes, I was in PR for over 2 decades. I started in consumer-facing stuff like real estate and restaurants, and then somehow found myself in the tech world, which I knew nothing about, but I was like a quick learn and became like a feisty little bulldog among a lot of men in technology who it was kind of fun because they were a little bit scared of me. And I'm not a scary person. Like I'm 5'1". I'm not
They're
like
scared of women.
it was the greatest power I've ever felt in my life at a young age. So it was like, I feel like it built my confidence for my career moving forward, honestly, among learning other things. But I think just that power shift was pretty incredible. So yeah, that was my old life.
And then when you got into content, I guess we're going to call it content creation because it wasn't called influencing or anything like that then.
Right. Right.
What year was this? And were you like, oh, this is a way for me to make money? Or were you like, this is fun?
For me at first, it was more fun. I knew that my end goal was always to write full time, not necessarily create content like on social media, but I wanted to write for publications and things like that. And I quickly learned that unless you had some kind of visibility and audience on social media, it wasn't so easy to get stuff like that. So I dove in having no idea what I was doing, no idea what I was doing. I probably made a lot of mistakes. I posted my kids a lot in the beginning and then I got freaked out and I don't really do that anymore. It was a big learning curve. And when I transitioned all my energy over to social media, I started to get writing and I had my old funnel of freelance opportunities from my PR world. And so between that and some of the writing stuff that actually used to pay, now they don't really pay. They just want to like take your words. They don't want
Well,
to pay
they paid like I mean, did they really
$100, like
pay?
something.
Yeah, 100.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, at the
But the
time when you're trying to get
bylines were so exciting.
that's it. That was it. And honestly, when I think about it now, I don't even care about the shitty pay. I was so happy to have my name in publications because that was my dream. I couldn't believe it. And that because my end goal was always a book, right? So
Yes.
I did that for so many years, but the way to like climb your way to the top was in the meme world. Like you had to create memes. I didn't even know what a meme was. I had no idea what it was. And before I knew it, I found myself in a circle of like these incredible parenting focused content creators, all of us at the same time, kind of like figuring it out together. And it was really like the heyday of Instagram. I miss it. It was like the best. I remember setting my alarms for certain times of the day to like make sure I posted every 4 hours and sharing other people and engaging. And it really was much more interactive and enjoyable than it is now.
Were you cross posting with like other
Yeah. So
similar bloggers?
back in the day, if you were in any kind of group, whether it was foodies or parenting or whatever, everyone kind of had their own little communities on Instagram. And everyone was also kind. Like there wasn't this cutthroat competition. Everyone really was just excited to be there. And the most exciting thing, like you said, when you have a byline pop up, even more than that is when like a big account shares you and all of a sudden you were flooded with like 3,000 followers.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore, but
It
that's
doesn't
how we
happen.
grew. We all grew like that. And I say organically because it was organically, even though behind the scenes we were creating groups and sharing each other. But I don't really think there's anything shady about that.
No.
But we would be in little groups and we would have a calendar and it would be, okay, we're sharing wine and cheese on Monday. We're sharing this person on this day. And so you
Oh,
would have
yeah?
12 to 20 people share you in the same day. And so you were all over Instagram and then people would follow you. And that is how we grew. And it was like a grassroots, incredible effort. And we all supported each other. And I think that's why we all formed relationships because we were really cheering each other on instead of trying to like be competitive. When you found a competitive person, you kind of like, I don't want to say ghosted
Mhm.
them, but you kind of like removed yourself from the situation. But I made some of my closest friends in those years. And I remember my mom saying to me, I was going to Vegas. This was right before COVID, and I was meeting a bunch of my Instagram friends. And she was like, I have a Jewish mother. And she goes, "You are going with strangers to Vegas?" And I'm like, they're not strangers. Like we FaceTime, we speak, we're like real friends. So it's just, it was such an incredible time. I'm so excited that I got to experience it because I kind of feel bad for the people on Instagram now who have no idea that that camaraderie once existed and it was fucking amazing.
See, I never really experienced that. I think I came into it through the perspective of like, I'm going to make this a career and I'm going to it was just different in like the
Yeah.
fashion New York world. Like there
Yeah.
was definitely not a reblogging of each other situation. It was like competition for jobs like right out of the gate kind of. So that does sound amazing.
Jordan, it was so wholesome at times. Like I remember, I think well before I hit like 10,000 followers on Instagram, I had a friend reach out to me who had added me to a writers group on Facebook, a sorority sister of mine from college. And she was like, I don't want to ruin any surprise, but a really big account is going to share you tomorrow or something like that. And I got shared by some major parenting account. I grew like crazy. And then like 2 weeks later, in that writing group, I found out because I later when I was in it, they basically out of the kindness of their heart, they pick someone who they feel like the world should hear their voice and they want to help them grow. And they just, with no strings attached, they're like, all right, everyone just share this person today. And it's like, and that happened to me. And there's nothing like opening Instagram as a small creator. And all of a sudden you see all these notifications and you're like, what is going on? But it was like, I know it sounds hokey, but it was such a time of connection and really in those chat groups, we weren't just sharing each other. We were having conversations in the DMs. We were talking about our husbands, our kids, we all got to know each other. And that was like the most fun part of my day. I didn't even care that I wasn't making money yet. I didn't care because I felt like I had this, I didn't know what it was going to turn into, but it felt exciting and it felt important. And it definitely opened a ton of doors for me. So I'll never be sorry for it. And everyone rides so hard for you. Like if someone, people steal memes all the time, which is one of the reasons I stopped doing them because it's thankless and annoying. But someone would steal your meme and claim it as theirs. And all of a sudden, you wouldn't have to do anything. All of your people would be in their comments being, this is Wine and Cheese It's meme. You need to credit her. It was amazing. It was amazing.
That and what happened? What happened?
The algorithm and corporate greed. I don't know. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, we all went from growing like crazy from all these
Mhm.
like little activities we were doing to losing and bleeding followers, like
Mhm,
bleeding
mhm.
followers. Um,
Bleeding.
and
I'm wondering
people
I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, "Did I get shadow banned for something?
I know.
What
It's so
happened?"
crazy. And everyone always says like, "Oh, when you lose a bunch of followers," and especially all of us were losing them at the same time. Like we would go into one of those groups and be like, "Hey, guys, is anyone bleeding followers?" And everyone would be like, "Yes, I am. I am." Well, it doesn't make sense for it to happen to everyone at the same time if you're being like penalized. So the only thing we could think of was they were bot sweeps or inactive accounts, but how could that happen so often where you're losing that amount of people? So I really don't know what happened. I think those of us who were in the heyday of it just got tired. We just got so tired of producing content that people were continuously stealing. We weren't making money from it. And so we all kind of branched out. Everyone that I know from that world either writes for a parenting publication or they have their own
Mhm.
podcast or like everyone kind of split from Instagram to monetize in different ways because it wasn't worth it anymore.
Yeah, I had like a account that I had this guy on my show and he has 1 million followers, is like super engaged account and it's incredible. And he collaborated with me on a post. And I was like, "Thanks so much." But it was like lots of views and
No follows.
no. And I don't understand. Like, the rules have changed so dramatically that you can't even like, I want to use this podcast to support the people who are on it, and I'm like, "I don't even know if it works."
You know what? I think though, by you doing that, it doesn't even matter if it supports them on Instagram. I think that the content creators who all were part of that time in Instagram history have all moved on to things
Mhm.
that are little niche parts of their career, right? Like you and I both wrote about divorce a bunch. I wrote about, when I had breast cancer, and which was fairly recent, all that kind of stuff. So I think that when you're writing about your life, your whole platform evolves, and then you figure out where the better places are for you to spend your time. And for me,
Uh-huh.
Instagram is hugely important because I have an amazing community of people. Like I really have grown to be so fond of them because they're just rock stars, and I am met with support I mean, when I announced that I had breast cancer, which I knew I had to do because everything else, I shared everything else. I had strangers who found my email and sent me like DoorDash gift cards and like cookies and like me. And I was like, this doesn't happen anymore where strangers are kind to
No.
each other. So I felt like I really created something special that I love and I hope it lasts a very long time. But I had to move on to do things to pay my bills. I still write for publications. I'm working on my first solo book that, about breast cancer that will hopefully be out in the next several months. But like I think we all just shifted focus and we moved to things that suited us better because it got exhausting, monotonous, and then when, like you said, the rules changed or whatever happened, it was a thankless job. No one enjoyed it anymore.
Yes. Yes. This feels so good to hear you say that because 'cause I'm like, was it burnout or was it just impossible to keep going?
Both.
Like,
I think both.
financially, logistically, I was
Yeah.
like, "I can't spin my wheels and iterate every day and, like, figure out what I don't I because it's just not what we got into this for,
No.
and it
No. I don't
changed
think any of us
so."
knew what we really got into it for in the beginning. I think everyone was kinda like, "Oh, this is a cool shiny thing. Let me try it." Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it served its purpose for many of us. I do
Mhm.
feel like I mean, my number has been the same for 2 years. Like, it's
Mhm.
crazy. But my engagement is high, my views are high, so the way I look at it is, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about, growing and growing and growing, even though it's always in the back of my head to some extent. I'm gonna focus on the community I have, and I'm going to make it even tighter and with purpose and just, focus on that instead of the hypothetical people that could be following me.
Yeah, and that feels that's so relaxing in a way. Like when I think about like my kids, to them, they're like, "You're on the internet?" Like, well, yeah, everyone is. Like they don't understand that it's like really, really how I like made a living for a long time because the difference between my engagement and followers and whatever is mortifying in comparison or not, I'm not mortified, but like in theory, compared to the people that they follow and the people who are actual influencers these days. And like there's just no world in which I can or want to compete with that
No, it's like
at all.
we've graduated, right? And there's like a new class, and that new class is gonna figure out how to
Yeah.
do things. Not that we don't need it, because it's still as a content creator, I think in general, any social media presence is crucial to your
Mhm.
survival because you have to stay relevant. But I think that when you collect people along the way who you're aligned with in any way, whether it's, you both went through divorces, you've suffered miscarriages, you went through breast cancer, you have teenagers, you remarried, like any single life instance that you can think about, when you collect people along the way based on that instead of like a funny meme or a joke you're sharing, I just think that it becomes more meaningful dialogue.
You're speaking of your I mean, your writing surrounding your miscarriage that you talked about publicly was so powerful and so meaningful. I had an ectopic pregnancy that I shared about again because uh, how could I not? And also that's like the point. Like that is
Right.
the point.
Right.
And I think that there's the negative perception that it's like, oh, attention seeking. No, it's
But
not.
anyone who says
It's like
that,
it's the point of why we do this. And I don't know. What do you think
I
about that?
no, it's 100% the point we do it. Think about 10 years ago. Like my account, I've had my account, I think, for 12 years or something like that. Think about when we all first started, that is when people started talking about motherhood, right? And from
Yeah.
there into the other things that came with motherhood. But if you look at social media now, people are talking about mental health openly. They're talking about sexuality openly. They're talking about postpartum depression. They're talking about anxiety. Like all those things that everyone used to keep under wraps. I think that all of us who created content around those things and continue to do so are the ones breaking ground to make it, to personify it instead of it being a social media platform, like reminding people that there is a face behind the words you're reading. It's not just like an account that, automatically throws up content. It is, you are dealing with real people. And I think that that's pretty magical in itself to look back and see how far we've come as women, especially, and the things that we talk about. I mean, talk about a legacy. Like that's pretty awesome.
It is, and it's so wonderful to connect with people like you who have gone through a similar trajectory and be like, "No, like, what we did, like, really mattered." I remember writing about, I had, very severe depression and anxiety following the birth of my first child, and then when I had my second, I actually sought psychiatric help. Amazing. And I decided to write about it. And my managers at the time were like, please don't. Cause it was like, you don't. Like, that's not on brand. That's not sexy to potential, brand sponsorships. And I
Mhm.
did anyway. And that's like, it's cool. I don't know, because
It's
like you said,
very cool.
everyone talks about mental health now, but they really, really didn't, and people are open about, like, the struggles with motherhood, and they just really, really weren't, and
It's
that did change with the onslaught of social media.
It changed dramatically, and, as far as the brand deals go, like, also back in that day, there really wasn't, it was just starting, like, influencer marketing was, like, in its birth era, right? Like, it was, everyone was trying to figure it out, there was no rule book, and I remember so vividly, all of us did ads for, I don't even know if I should say the company, but for, like, an
Oh, please
adult,
do.
okay, for we all did ads for Adam and Eve, okay?
I
Because
didn't. I would have done ads for Adam and
well,
Eve.
it was the easiest company to work for in the sense that you didn't have to do anything. They sent you the content. They sent you the memes to choose from. You would pick which one you wanted to post. You would post it and then you'd get paid. It was shitty pay. It was like, I don't know, $50 a meme or something like that. But at the
Yeah.
time when you're not making money and then you get that first brand deal, you do it. So all of us were doing that, all of us. And at some point I looked at it and I was like, I am no prude at all. I'm extremely liberal socially with everything. I don't care, but I have 2 daughters and there's something that makes me really uncomfortable, like holding a vibrator next to my face. Like that can be on the internet forever. I can't explain it because it's not in my character to be embarrassed about anything, but I was just like, I don't know
It's
if
a
this is
lot.
the best route for me. And I also felt like, what if I'm alienating other brands? Like,
Yeah.
I was picturing my kids being in school and I've scrubbed all that. That's all gone from my account like for years now. But I was picturing like my daughters being in middle school or high school and someone like pulling up a picture and me like, holding a pink shiny,
Vibrator.
yeah. And I'm like, I can't do it anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but the brand thing we all figured out together also. No one knew what to charge. No one knew how, if you go after them or they come after you. And there's still a lot of that kind of like figuring it out as new brands come on the scene. But I think that we really helped set the stage by working together to make sure that we were getting paid fairly. Like we would talk to each other and say, what are you getting paid by so and so?
You
And if we,
did?
hell yes.
That
Hell
is
yes.
freaking awesome.
Because
Again, I was
because
in a
who's
different
looking out for
world.
us? Who's looking out?
Nobody talked. Nobody.
Right, right, and
You're
listen,
forging you're forging an entirely new industry with absolutely no game plan or
yep,
guidance, and, like,
yep,
nobody knows.
and not only that, we would share, like, if we had a really bad experience with a brand, like, if it took so long to get paid or they were nickel and diming, we would share that, and then we would say, we're not working with you, we heard," so, like, we were almost like our own HR in a really weird way because there was a system of checks and balances in a sense where we looked out for each other. And obviously there's the understanding that depending on your numbers, that does change prices. So everything is not always apples to apples because someone who
Right.
has 100,000 followers or 10,000 followers, you're not necessarily getting the same payday, but
Yeah.
we were very vigilant about protecting each other and making sure that we were all treated fairly and also sharing opportunities. Like brands would be like, "Hey, we're looking for more people in your age bracket. Know anyone?" And you'd shoot out a message to your DM group, "Hey, anyone want to work with so and so?" And then it was just a very um collaborative environment.
How did that change? I have to assume, I mean, did money start getting bigger, and if so, did that shift the collaborative element?
Maybe, maybe. I mean, I never felt that because the people that I was surrounded with, we were always honest with each other. And if it was something where we didn't want to get in trouble, we would say, "Please don't use my name," and say, "This is what I'm getting paid, but this is what I'm getting paid." And everyone was very respectful. I think one of
Seriously?
the other things that really affected it was new creators that were coming on the scene were just doing shit for free. They were just doing
Oh,
stuff for
really?
free. They wanted to grow. And
Or
I
they
don't
wanted to
think they
say, "I'm
realized.
working with X, Y, and Z brands,"
Right, which
and
I get because we all did that to some extent, but I think when you had established people out there who were making respectable money for brand deals, and then you have a bunch of green creators who are growing really rapidly, um, and they do stuff for free, the brands are gonna give them stuff for free, and they're not gonna pay us, it's not worth it. So, I think
right.
we all kind of grew. We had like a rite of passage together, learning how to advocate for ourselves and stand up for ourselves and know what was fair and, be able to monetize in a way that was comfortable for all of us respectively.
That is, that's just the wow, that's the goal. Like, what a dream
Yeah.
to work with a community of, and it must be said, all women, correct?
They're all women and, like, 2 or 3 men. That's it. And the men were vetted very, like, they were
Yeah.
like us, like, one I'll mention one
Invite
in
only.
particular who I am still tight with is, Paul from Stone Cold Daddy. He
Oh.
is hilarious, and he was one of the only men in our circle, but he fit so well because he wasn't like a gross man. He was, like, fun and hilarious and didn't cross any lines, and, like, to this day, we're all friendly. We've met in person. I actually had him. I speak at the Mother of All Baby Showers every year, and they wanted a father instead of just mothers, and we flew him in, and I got to be on a panel with him. So like those connections still are fruitful to this day with the right people, and that's one of the best things about my whole journey on Instagram. And so the fact that I still get to do things like that is incredible.
Ah, that is incredible. So you would say, like, of that core group of people, how many of them, or what percentage of them would you say make the bulk of their living off of content creation?
I think that 100% of them want to make their living on content creation, but because in reality, it's very hard to do that unless you have a bajillion followers and you're like a
Mhm.
celebrity. Um, they all have, you know, real jobs. They're realtors or they're
Yeah.
teachers or whatever it is, and they kind of just do both until they can figure out a way to lose one or the other. But
Uh-huh.
the amount who are actually making money from it, I mean, I'm not really good at math, but I'm going to say it's probably closer to 50-50 than you would like it to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not making the bulk of that, really, any income
No,
from like Instagram anymore, and that
no,
used to be, or brand integrations into my blog, which is so funny that that's like the kids
I
don't even
know.
know what that frickin' means, which
I don't
is,
even know what to do with mine. I don't know what to do with it. Do I shut it down? I have a website.
you know what I did? So I was like, I have 14 years of like, I wrote every day. I
Yeah.
don't know what to do. And then actually what happened was it broke because it was just like an old
Mhm.
WordPress that, and it just was like, "Burk." And so I put it all on, like, I transferred it all into basically a secret site that I like, it exists so that I can
You have
like,
it.
I have it and I can like show my kids and look at it and whatever. But I started a Substack and then I repurpose from that. Like, so I'll take an old post and update it to be more, current, and then put it on Substack. But it's
See?
weird. Yeah, like, what do you do with this, like, cache of work that spans a decade or more? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe someone needs to come out and invent something to appeal to creators like that it creates a hardcover book for you of all of your the things you've posted.
Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah, I like that idea. Um, so when did you start feeling like the platform stopped rewarding the kind of content you were creating, and how did you, like, push in harder, or were you just like, "I can't," like, "Okay."
So I can't remember the exact time. I'm gonna estimate maybe about like 5 years ago. Well, no, probably more than that. Probably like when I was about 4 years in. Mm,
Okay.
It was just slowing down. And I was, like I said, setting an alarm. I was like, okay, I have to post at 7, and then I have to post at 12, and then I have to, and then I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, it's not worth what I'm getting in return, whether it's paying or followers or whatever it is. It's not worth my energy and the stress that it's causing me. Um, it's stupid. Like these are memes. I don't need to have this level. I've worked in like major corporate positions, and this was stressing me out more.
I
And
know.
I just took like a look at myself, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. And I started to play around with my grid and do the whole aesthetic thing, like video, meme, video, meme, video. And then I became a complete slave to my feed. And I was like, oh my God, I need a video and I don't have one because if I put a meme, it's going to look weird. And then one day, probably about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I was like, fuck it. I'm done. I'm posting whatever I want when I want. I am no longer looking at numbers. I don't care about the algorithm. And that was the best decision I ever made. And people don't like, I have people who will ask me when they're starting out, like, do you have any tips for how to grow on Instagram or what should I do with my analytics? And I'm like, you are asking the wrong person because I have not looked at my analytics in 5 years. And I'm not even
Yeah.
joking. I have not even looked at them unless like a brand has asked for like story views or stuff like that. But I'm like, I don't care. I am not here to build an empire on Instagram. I'm here to do something more important for myself. I'm here to figure out my purpose every time my life changes, right? And so like for me now it's the breast cancer stuff and advocacy, and every time I have a thing like that, I'm going to run with it until I run it out and then I'll move on to the next thing. And that's how I'm living my life with social media. It is not I'm not going to be indebted to it. I can't. It's just not worth it. Not worth it.
That is you say, like, 5, 6 years ago. Yeah, same. When I was trying to do like, yeah, aesthetic, and, like, every post has to be pretty and make sense with the other posts in the grid,
Yep.
and then I was just one day like, I fucking can't. Like,
I
I
know.
can't. I don't care. The hide like button on Instagram, loved it. I was
I
like, "Thank you,
know.
Jesus, because I don't have to just be like, 'Oh, no,' like, what if our brand sees that didn't get as whatever?" Like, "No, thank you." And
Yeah.
I haven't looked at my analytics in years. Don't
And
care.
I think too, if you're going to stay on a platform like that, even if your mission is to monetize and to score brand deals and all that stuff, the way that I looked at it is like I had a big candy company turn me down because I cursed. And I was like, I don't
Okay.
fucking know. I'm like, I can't, I'm not going to change who I am
So
in my
ridiculous.
so ridiculous. I'm not gonna change who I am. I'm not going to compromise my voice. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm gonna, like, let my freak flag fly, and whoever likes me for who I am is gonna come, and that's exactly what has happened. My favorite brand partnerships have been the ones where they're like, "We don't wanna see anything for approval. We don't wanna give you a
Mhm.
script. We want you to take this product, and we want you to organically tell us how it fits into your life." And I think that's also why I've gained trust from people who are on my account because I'm never sharing something that I have not used ever, ever.
No?
Um, nope, nope. I mean, I used to back in the day, but I would always use it. And then if I didn't like it, I would, find a way to be, because I always
Yeah.
felt guilt. But now I am much more, I could probably be making a lot more money if I wasn't so picky and choosy, but I don't feel comfortable in a world where there's so much fakeness and curated content and all that stuff. I do not have
Can't do
the
it.
wherewithal to do it. I just don't. I'm not interested.
I feel you so hard. It's just like, why yes, I cannot wrap my mind around contributing to, like, the bullshit that's out there for I don't even know. But I definitely I'd be like, "All right, Walmart, fine, like, girl gotta do what she gotta do." But, that also is because the financial implications are I mean, if Walmart came and was like, "Here's $50,000," I'd be
Of
like, "I
course.
love Walmart."
Yeah, Walmart is my favorite place in the
It's
world.
my
You will
favorite
learn to love Walmart. No, agree.
Yeah.
Listen, it's
Is
business.
that
There are
awful? Is that
business.
awful? It's just
No,
true.
it's not awful. It's real. It's real. Listen, I was approached one time time by a company, I forgot the name of it, but it was like a colon cleanse, like and I was like,
Uh,
am I really about to do this? Like, am I really
Was it
about
was it Metamucil? I did
no, it was
Metamucil.
like colon broom, colon
Colon
broom.
colon broom, I remember that, yes.
And I was like, "I don't know." And then they sent me the offer and it was a lot of money. And I looked at my husband, I was like, "Do I do this?" He goes, "You literally talk about like shaving your face. Like that's where you're gonna draw the line." And I'm like, "You're right.
With poop?
You are
Yeah.
right." And so I did it and I don't regret it, but like I think that you have to have a level of I gotta have some humility and be a little self-deprecating to, take the stuff that comes your way that fits into your audience and your life.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, the humility going from being like DKNY to like Rogaine was pretty intense. Like during the last few years when I was making serious money as an influencer, it was like Charmin toilet paper, Metamucil,
Mhm.
Rogaine for women, uh toothbrushes, and I was like, okay, I get it.
Yep.
I see where I'm
Yeah,
at
you're
in
gonna
this
use a number of
economy.
those things, right? Like, you're gonna use them. You may not always talk about it with people, but now when you have a platform and you have a chance to talk about stuff you use regularly, even if the content behind it is a little bit embarrassing, who cares? Like,
Why?
if you
Who
got on
cares?
to be who you are and to be realistic and you do it we share much more personal things in our writing than we do doing an ad for Metamucil. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I mean, my people who are on my account will literally be like, "Oh my god, you haven't posted Biggie in a while, my dog." Like, people pay attention to who you are and what's in your
Biggie
life.
after the Notorious B.I.G., who is your favorite artist from
That's
the 90s. I did my research.
that's right. Thank you. Biggie Smalls, Sobel. Yep. And when he's very
Amazing.
ill behaved, I call him by his government name, Christopher Wallace.
Oh, well. So he knows. He knows how he's doing. What do you think people don't understand? So, let me rephrase, kids these days, influencers these days, what do you think that they don't understand about what we were doing? I mean, everything, but it's
Um,
very funny talking to them. I don't know if you have recently.
oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a 17-year-old. I have a 17-year-old.
Oh,
So
oh,
like,
you do. Oh, okay. Mine's
mhm,
14. So he's
yeah,
not really in yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think it's without question, unequivocally authenticity. I think that there's no I think they post how they feel and all that kind of stuff, but I think they don't really think before they post, right? So like they'll post things they may not want out there because they're in a mood and they don't think about the long term repercussions. So I think I actually think you probably shouldn't be able to post on social media until you have a frontal lobe because it's like they don't. It's not their fault. But I think there's a big lack of lack of authenticity, and I think they use it. A lot of them use it for the wrong reasons. They use it for the attention. They use it to,
Mm,
show their body, show this, show that. Whereas that's never what any of us intended to use it for. It was really to forge connection and find your
I
people
think
and
so.
find community. Which is probably why they think we're so old because we're not cool enough to just, post a TikTok dance in a tube top. Um, I
Never.
think it's different. I think that the younger creators are so different from us in so many ways. Like, Gen X is cut different. Gen X is we did not have cell phones. We had a family computer. There was no privacy on a computer. I had to use MapQuest. I didn't have Waze or anything like that. I had papers printed out with directions. So like
MapQuest. I They need to understand
they
what it
don't.
was like getting from one place to another. And if you're late to meet whoever you have to meet up, oh my God,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
stress.
talk
Like
about
I'm
having
sweating thinking about
a
it.
pager and stopping at a payphone because there were no
Yeah,
cell phones,
no,
So, like, I think that because the newer creators have grown up surrounded by technology, I think they are much more jaded by it than we are. I think that we probably overthink some of the stuff that we post because of how we were raised and how we grew up. But it's not new to them. And I always say, like, I'll talk to parents about kids and social media and things like that. And the reality is we can't expect that generation, our children especially, to handle things the way we would because they were born with cell phones in their hand. They were born with it. They don't know anything. They don't know not like that. I mean, I had a conversation with my 9-year-old the other day, and she was like, "Did you watch this show when you were my age?" And I go, "No, because it didn't exist." And she was like, "What?" Like, she couldn't even wrap her head around that there's something in the world today that was not around at some point. And I think that it's that innocence and naive nature of the younger generations that they just look at it through a different lens, and it's really about vanity more than it is about authenticity.
That's really interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, there is the sense that when we were starting out, it's not like everyone was an influencer.
No,
Everyone, like it was just people who did that. 99.999% of people were like, no, thank you. And they were happy to just like consume it or not.
yep,
And to some extent, yeah, like my kids have friends who have bigger followings than me, and they're just people.
I
They're not
know.
in like, they're just teenagers, and they all I don't
That was
even I just don't understand what they're doing.
don't think they understand what they're doing, and I think that's why they shouldn't have social media till a certain age,
No.
but, if you look at something even like Snapchat, right? They don't really care. They wanna keep their streak up, which is just sending DMs back and forth to each other all day and
Oh,
not
I
break.
don't even know. I'm like,
Okay,
I can't even
so
handle paying
I only
attention
know
to
this
this. That's a
because of
thing?
having a teenager who we were the last ones to give her Snapchat. We everyone had it except for her, literally. Like, when kids say, like, "Everyone has it except for me," and you're like, "You're full of shit." Everyone had it except for her, and we realized how kids do get alienated when they
Yeah.
don't have certain social media because that's how the kids all communicate, so it's like a double-edged sword, but when she
Yeah, they
got
all
it and
that's
she
how
was
they,
on the
like,
phone,
make phone calls is through Snapchat.
they
That's
don't
how
make
they
phone calls. They don't even
what are
text.
they doing? I don't know.
They
I don't
snap, they snap,
understand.
they snap each other.
Arr!
And I said to my daughter, I go, "Explain to me what's going on." And she's like, "You have to maintain your streak. You have to, like," because I'd see her take a picture of the ceiling and send it. I go, "Why are you taking the ceiling?" She's like, "Because it could be anything. It doesn't matter." So, like, their goal being on Snapchat is to maintain a streak. I have a friend who has a
Why?
streak of like 7 years. Like, he hasn't missed
Why?
a day in 7 years. And I'm like, "What happens if you're sick?" And he's like, I do it." So, like, it becomes this like dopamine hit and this like addictive thing. And it's not even about the content, it's about the streak. So I think every social media platform has its thing like that. And I think that's where the focus of the really young creators are more than the content that they're putting out there.
And that's why probably contributes to why we're getting screwed by the algorithm because and there's
Right.
no world in which I'm posting every day anymore.
No,
No.
no, that's the
Or
other
like
thing.
no.
No, that's the other thing. I look at that and I was like, not only do I not post multiple times a day, there are times where I'm like, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not going to post. I'm not feeling it." And the old me would have been like, "Oh my God, but my numbers are going to drop and this and
Oh,
that." I just don't care. I'm going to post whenever I feel like doing it. I'm going to share authentically from my heart. People ask me if I have a planned calendar. No, I don't. I'm
no.
winging it. I'm winging it because if I have a planned calendar, how can I be, I mean, it's one thing if you're doing it for brands, you have to plan stuff. That I get. But like the
Sure.
personal post when you're writing about your life, how do you plan that? How do you plan that? You can't. Like, if you're writing about other stuff, it's different. But I am literally sharing bits and pieces of my world. And so, like, yeah, sometimes I repurpose content. If I don't feel it, I'll take an old post that did really well and I'll put it back up. And I think there's nothing wrong with that because it's my
No.
content. But I really don't put the amount of thought into it. Um, as a lot of people think. I think a lot of people feel like anyone who's writing has this like giant master plan, and I don't. I have a notes app on my cell phone, and when I think of something, I'm like, "Oh, I want to write about that." Or like I'll scroll through my camera roll and see a picture. I'm like, "Oh, that would be a really good picture if I wrote about this." And I think it's very the people that came after us, there's no strategy. It's all about posting at the most Instagrammable spots and, getting the viral foods and like doing all the things that make get followers. And I think they're much more into the numbers than they are the content.
I think you're completely right. And there's also an element of like I consider our generation God, I sound so old. I'm like, we were there first, but
Back in the
but
day,
I but I think that we were storytellers at heart.
that's my
And
favorite part of it. Wasn't that your favorite
it
part of it?
of course. When Instagram first happened and my agents were like, "You have to do it," I was like, "But no, thanks. Like, I'm not, but no, like I write." And then
Hmm.
there's photos that go along with the writing, but That's, like, extra. It's not the point, and it became the point, and the
Yeah.
visual is everything, and I don't know, I don't think it's bad or it's good. There is this book, that I keep wanting to mention on the podcast. Virginia Heffernan wrote this book called Magic and Loss, where
Okay.
she explains that, like, we all are like, "But it used to be better," like, kids these days, and they're not, and her whole thesis is basically, it's not better or worse, it's just the next thing. It's just
Right.
the thing that happened next.
Right.
Like emojis are now a part of our language, and
Yep.
that's true. It's
Yeah.
not, they have incorporated into our literal language, and that's fine.
I mean,
Or
there
you
are
could be upset
words.
about it or not, but, like, it's just the thing.
No, it is what it is, and there are words too, like made up words that are now in Merriam-Webster's dictionary because generations use them and stuff like that. So you're right. I mean, everything the world keeps moving around you, and our kids and the generations after us, even if they're not, being authentic on social media, they have a hell of a lot more knowledge with technology than we do. They're much savvier than us. They have
So
all these
much.
workarounds, like they know how to turn off Life 360 so you can't track them without you knowing. They know how
Oh, no.
to use
I don't
fake
even know how to
phone
turn Life
numbers.
360 on.
Oh, yeah. They know how they have apps that have fake phone numbers to call someone so you can't track them. I mean, they're like psychopaths, but they are so much smarter than us and tech savvy than us. And I thought I was killing it when, like, the very first iPhone came out and we got it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so cool. Like I'm on the cutting edge of technology. Now I've turned into the old lady with the readers going into my daughter's room being like, can you read this code to me? I cannot see it with my eyes. Like
Oh, I
the
outsource anything tech to my 14-year-old. I'm like, "Could you edit this for me on CapCut?" I don't have CapCut. Go,
Yep.
go.
Yep.
I'll give you
Yep.
$5. He's like,
Yeah.
"That's not really enough money." I was
I
like,
know.
"$5
That's the other
doesn't
thing.
take us
Everything
very
is
far," and he's
I know.
right,
I know.
because it's so
I know.
expensive.
Life is expensive. Life is
Ugh,
expensive.
it's too expensive. I don't like it.
Mhm.
I would like
I
to
know.
object to that. I'm not on
Why
board
do you
with
think we
that
all
being.
started making our own sourdough and churning butter and doing shit like that, like pioneers? Because we were saying it was because of COVID, but really we were saving money.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at my whole little garden of lettuces.
See?
I never thought I would have lettuces. So do you miss, does it still feel fun?
Um It feels fun when I write something that resonates so deeply with people that they are sending me their own stories and DMing me, and that's the part that's fun for me, the connection. Or like when I'm out and someone's like, "Oh my god, I don't want to be weird." Like a woman came up to me, she was so adorable. I was shopping in Home Sense or one of those stores, and I saw her walk past, and then she like walked back and she started walking towards me, and she's like, "Hi, I don't want to make it weird." I go, "Please make it weird. I love weird." And she's like, "I follow you and I saw your last story about blah, blah, blah. And I loved it so much. And just thank you. You're really making a difference." And I was like, my God, like, so I don't miss the stress of like having to come up with content and having a cadence and all that stuff. I do miss the interaction with all of my people on there, but all the people that I met are my friends in real life and we have group text now instead of, you know, the whole DM thing, but I miss the spirit. I miss the spirit. I do miss the spirit of that. But like you said, things just change. They are what they are. Now I get to move into a chapter where I literally am doing what I set out to do, which is to write a book. Like that's this whole thing started because I was like, I need to write books. I don't want to just have bylines. And it took me so long to get there. And it took me so long to figure out my book. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, this is what it was all about. And so do I miss it? Of course I
Yes.
do. Course I do, but I think that all these doors close and then you walk through new ones, and that's what's supposed to happen in your life professionally and personally.
I cannot agree more. It's like all of this, like the positive stuff and the negative stuff, and it all had to happen to get to this place I am now. It's not like phenomenally perfect, but I'm doing the work that I've always
Mhm.
wanted to do,
Yep,
and that wouldn't have happened without all of those doors closing and other
totally,
doors opening.
totally.
And
And it wouldn't have happened without
when,
Instagram. It wouldn't have happened. Instagram,
of course
even though
not.
you could have found your audience in a million other ways, Instagram and social media in general, you have to have a presence. There has to be some kind of presence there to be sellable, right? To be
Yes.
relatable. So it gave us a launching pad to do what we want to do. And now those of us who had other ideas rather than just using it for fun are actually living that out. And not only do I love it, I love watching my friends doing it. Like I love my friends
Oh,
when they
yes.
start a podcast or they put a book out or they do whatever. I am like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is everything we worked for. And so you still do
It
get a lot like,
is.
yeah.
And it can feel like failure, like, "Oh, I was doing this and I was making this much money," and I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's literally just like this book, like, it's just
Yep.
the next thing,
That's it.
and, ugh, amazing. It's amazing. So, Rachel, where can people find you today? Where do you want besides Instagram, which it's wine and
Wine.
Cheez-Its because
Instagram, I'm the most active on Instagram because it's my biggest audience, so that's the best place to find me, and I really do this is not bullshit, I really do try and respond to every single message that I get, even if it's with just an emoji. I I try because I do feel like that's like the pillar of creating community is like if they're going to take the time to reach out, I'm going to try my best to get everyone. I don't always succeed, but on Instagram you can find me at Wine, Wine with an H, WHINE and Cheez-Its. And yeah, I'm there. I'm pretty much like checking it constantly because that's where most of my activity is. And as soon as I have book information and pre-sale stuff and all that stuff is done, I'll share that there as well, but that's where my head is in my computer 24 hours a day now, just writing, writing, writing.
I cannot wait to read this book. Do you know when, are you so you're in the
I
writing process?
Yeah, I don't know. I it's due in June,
Okay.
but I'm gonna probably turn it in before then because I am an overachiever,
Yep.
with
ADHD is good for
raging
some stuff.
ADHD. Yep.
Yep. It's
Um,
helpful.
so I don't know. I'm hoping it will be out sometime in the fall, but I'm not sure. I think it all depends like what the edit process looks like and all that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, really looking forward to it. Thank you so much. That
Thank
was so
you.
insightful and so lovely. I feel emotional and a little bit teary,
Oh.
in a very good way, but it was really lovely to connect with you. Thank you so much.
Same, and I am happy to do it anytime. You are a delight.
You are a delight.